From the heart of Moonshine Country comes a podcast so irreverent it'll make your grouchy grandma blush. The Overland Bonfire from Blue Ridge Overland Gear. Podcast about vehicle camping, overland gear, and long tangents about food. I'm hungry. Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Overland Bonfire. I'm CT.
I'm Rick.
I'm Matt.
So we are going to talk about what we look for in gear, which initially I was like, man, that's a little broad, but actually I think we can come up with some good stuff.
Yeah.
CT had some like categories.
Yeah, we could just start with a category.
50% chance that'll go out the window quick. But,
yeah,
but
hey,
hey,
they're just jumping off points.
Yeah.
We let the current take us from there. So
sometimes it's a riptide.
Drawer systems.
Oh, God.
So like, what do you guys look for in a drawer system? There are different, could be truck bed, could be back vehicle. So there's a lot of different things to talk about there. But we'll.
Okay, no.
What do
I
like,
look
Matt?
for? Because I'm
what do you like?
a drawer. Slides, like really good slides. I need to stop playing with my knife.
Okay.
We do.
Because I noticed at like Expo East, several companies were starting to offer like budget option drawer systems that were just like sliding on some blocks of plastic, but didn't actually have tracks, didn't actually have metal tracks and rollers and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
So my problem is that I am in and out of my drawers almost every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I am in them constantly. So if they can be serviced, I like that. And then just pure durability, something that's, probably overrated weight wise. A lot of the stuff that are in the ambulance, like 2 companies that make them for ambulances and stuff like that. I have had trouble with the stops breaking and things like that, but they always seem to slide, and I put extra catches on them to keep them closed.
Yeah.
But heavy slides, and then just something that doesn't rattle.
Yeah.
I hate it when they make noise, rattling going down the road. Something that slides well, and some of the drawer itself is built pretty well, because I'm going to overload it. I'm going to open it every day, at least once a day, maybe 5 times.
Yeah.
So it's for me, a drawer might get, it might get 500 to 800 cycles in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not probably the case with most people.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of drawers, but I don't skimp on that. My last set were Rodney Dewson built them custom size for me, and I have a deck system in the back of my truck right now.
Yeah.
How's that been working out for you?
Good. I like it. It doesn't utilize the space as well as I'd like, but it does keep the water out really well, which is because it's just sitting in the back of the truck, and I don't know that there's anything else that makes sense for the back of the truck that stores, it's full length, pretty much full length, and then keeps the water out because it's open.
Yeah. And I think
if it were closed, I would have a different project back there.
Yeah, because the cool thing about the deck, you're right, is that like weatherproofness and stuff like that, and like small parts are fixable. But you're right, like they have their 2 drawer sizes, and you've got one of each, right? You're both the same width.
Mine are the same width.
So you've got 2 of the bigger, But the problem being, they make those work for a lot of platforms. So like there is a lot of kind of
but that's kind of makes them affordable too.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm for the money, I think a deck's hard to beat. I think the wheel system they use is pretty good. I wish it came out further. It locks, and it locks forward, and there isn't a ton of room. There's a lot of space in the back that I have trouble reaching.
Yeah.
So I can only put long things back there. I mean, there's some disadvantages to it, but again, I'm in and out of them every day, and they've held up, and they haven't leaked.
And you probably have one of the longer ones they make too, right? Like yours is.
Yeah, I don't know if they do something. I mean, mine's in a 6.6.
6.5. Yeah. So like, I know there's some like 8-foot beds out there, so I don't know if they actually make anything for those.
I don't know either. I know this one, and I load the top of it pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, I'll haul lumber and stuff on it and whatever, and it works pretty well.
On the I guess the inside the vehicle side, what are there any brand names that you like?
Blue Ridge Overland Gear.
We're not going to do drawers, so just for the record.
Oh, I thought you meant just general organization.
Yeah, I meant for drawers, just for drawers.
Oh,
like a lot of people like talk about Goose Gear. Are you guys big Goose Gear fans?
So I mean, I honestly, short of having a set built for me,
Yeah.
Goose gear is probably. I mean, I've had the goose gear in almost everything else,
Yeah.
and would have been fine putting goose gear in the Suburban, other than what I wanted lengthwise and where I
Yeah.
wanted it and how I wanted it made. You know.
Yeah, Brian Screw doesn't have anything.
Yeah, they used to do some of that.
Oh, okay, I've never noticed this
Yeah,
stuff for the Suburban platform.
they used to do well. They used to do custom sizes. You could
Oh,
just
okay.
order whatever you
Yeah.
wanted. I don't think they do that anymore.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, Brian's stuff is really well built. It's really nicely finished.
Yeah.
They use really good slides and really good hardware, and it's really put together well, which is, and again, now you pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, for me, all this stuff goes on how much I'm going to use it and knowing that I can break an anvil. Those are the two
Yeah.
things that make all my decisions on everything
Yeah.
whether we're talking about an air compressor or an awning
Yeah.
or an anything. It's like, I'm not going to take very good care of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat it senseless, and I expect it to live through that. And I'm, if I buy something cheap, I'm not mad at myself when it doesn't live through that. But at the same time,
Right.
I try to buy, and I think Goose Gear ranks really
Their-
high. It would be high on my
Their
list.
new park system's pretty cool. Like that's for the more like crossovers and Subarus too.
So the Subaru stuff, he built the one set for his daughter's Subaru, and
Yeah,
it's slick.
That we got to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Brian. That system is
But
really
flat packs when they ship it.
Yeah.
So the shipping's not crazy. The way it goes together is really
Nice.
cool.
Yep.
A lot of it is like you don't remove the seats. Like you don't have to take the seats out.
Right.
You just fold them flat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really cool when I got to take a look at it in person is that like a lot of the panels, you have the drawer, but there's like top access panels to like things
Oh
underneath
wow, that's pretty neat.
it. So like you could actually use the like spare tire area, like still access that.
Right, because you can slide it out, open
Yeah.
an access panel, and then go basically underneath the drawer if you wanted.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like really quickly. That
they-
was cool.
Yeah, they do, I think, a lot of smart stuff.
Mhm.
And again, you pay for that, and
Yeah.
I'm okay paying for well thought out
Yeah.
stuff that
Another
feel
one
like
that I
can
saw
buy.
that was pretty high quality. I don't remember all the brands I like East, but I remember Gabby in his Forerunner. He had I think it's called
Truck Vault.
Truck
Vault.
ball.
Yeah,
That's a
truck
big
vault.
name.
And that was like thick, like
Yeah,
plywood,
you see a lot of, like,
heavy
police
duty.
Yeah, like police trucks and
thing.
stuff.
Yeah, you see a lot of truck vault in law enforcement vehicles, and then there's another one, a truck vault competitor. I can't remember the name of that. And Havas makes some stuff like that. Like that's what
Yeah.
the console is in my Suburban, is a
Yeah.
Havas.
So is that good? Do you think those are good for overlanding? Or is it kind of more than what you need?
I don't know. I looked at the truck vault for the Suburban, and I couldn't find anything long enough for what I was trying to do or fit where I was trying to put it. I mean, I think the locking stuff is pretty slick that they have. I don't lock stuff. I mean, I'm sorry. I lock things, but I don't like lock my drawers, right?
Yeah, I mean, because truck
'cause-
vault's market, it makes sense, but for your average user.
Yeah, I mean, I may even be carrying similar things in mind that the truck vault market is carrying. But I mean, my tailgate's locked, or if I were at the range, it's it's kind of in there.
Yeah.
And I'm not leaving it open I'm not leaving it open exposed to the public necessarily.
Do you have anything to add to drawer systems before we move on?
Just that I'm the worst person in this conversation because I've only ever had one drawer system, and it was in
Uh-huh.
my Tacoma. It was a bed slide and a platform, and I built it. And
Did you have the bed slide too?
yeah, I did all of it in the
With
Tacoma.
like skate wheel or skate bearings or
Yeah.
roller skate bearings?
Yeah, skate
Okay.
bearings.
Yep,
and,
I remember talking about that. And I
Yeah.
remember you.
Yeah, bed slides is a whole other interesting
So
angle to the
I
whole
love
thing.
the idea of a bed slide. I mean,
I ran it
think
that way
that's-
for a while, then put a more or less a cover over top of it so I could have two levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually, my favorite way that I ever built was I had two bike fork mounts at the front,
Yeah.
so I could put two bikes on it with the front wheels off, obviously, just standing up and roll them out, and then had room for gear around them. So like I had a bed slide that would hold two bikes plus my stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
then-
bed slides. I think there's some use for that. It doesn't, like I said, I need to be able to store stuff inside the bed,
Yeah.
locked, which is where the where my deck system kind of works because it butts up against tailgate and tailgate locks, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not that it's impossible to get into because it
Yeah.
with
And then again,
enough
my
time and
seat
an
delete,
impact.
the current truck, Rodney built that. So I've went the custom route every time I've had like a organizational
need.
need. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. Next on my list is awnings. Matt, what do you look for in an awning?
The same thing I look for in everything. I mean, like this is, how many times I'm going to open it, or the questions I ask,
Yeah.
or how many times am I going to open it and close it, what situations I'm going to open and close it in, and how mad am I going to be when it breaks. Those are the three questions that I ask myself, and then I decide how much money I'm going to spend.
And then in the end, you
Uh,
just get a shadow awning because you like shadow awnings.
So, but I mean, but that answers the questions, right? Like, so having had other awnings, it's annoying when they break. Watching most of the other, 270-ish on, and I like
Yeah.
270 awning myself. Watching most of the other 270 awnings break regularly.
Mm-hmm.
The
like
fact that
like the ones that aren't freestanding that have poles. Yeah, they're just.
yeah, I mean, and
They
when they come with extra parts to start with, because they know you're going to break them in the field, and then you have to repair them, and that it's like
it's just a red flag.
yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like buying Harbor Freight tools. If you're a Harbor Freight tool guy, I don't have anything against that.
Except
but
for their
like,
jack stands. Just don't do that.
well, right, okay, no jack stands from Harbor Freight, right? 3 recalls in and a few deaths. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That's what I'm
But I
saying.
mean, it's like, you buy Harbor Freight sockets or wrenches or whatever. And yes, they're warranted. That's great. Other than I got to drive 45 minutes to the Harbor Freight place to get my socket that's cracked fixed or replaced and back. And now an hour and a half in, the project isn't done. And I'm just annoyed as crap with the junk that I bought as opposed to. So either you have to buy two, you just buy 2 full sets of crap. And I have some of that too. But, or you buy one good one that the likelihood of breaking is substantially lower.
And speaking to the shadow awning from Alucab, the one I have sitting in the front of the shop here.
Gabby wrapped into a tree.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it kept on ticking,
Yeah, fold her in half, bend her back, keep using her.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Has
yeah, because awnings do kind of fall into 2 camps. There's the freestanding ones and the ones that have poles. And if you get the ones that have poles, you don't need as heavy duty of a mount for, but you got to stake them out. And if the wind catches them, they're gonna break right at the pivot point.
So what's the one of the F55s, F65s? It's the awning. That's their model number. I forget.
Are you talking like the Batwing awning?
No. Oh, are you talking about?
They're metal. They're aluminum cased. They have aluminum covers.
ARB has one with an aluminum cover, but it's just the rollout 2 legs.
That's what I'm talking. These are rollout 2 legs, but it's not ARB. Isn't who pioneered that? That was Let me see if I can find it.
And I know that Kamek and then is it Dometic have the ones that are freestanding that come straight off the side, non 270s. Because isn't the Dometic one even have a wind sensor?
I was about to talk about ones with wind sensors. Yeah, I don't know if Dometic makes one, but I know that some RV people too do because I mean,
that's a whole other ballgame.
We did a walk around with Riley with his van, and he had it was one of these more RV style that comes straight out, and it said it has a wind sensor and it'll retract itself in high winds.
Yeah, I think that's more of something you see in the van world more than you're stick that on a Tacoma or something.
But I started to see some like that.
But John, what is this? I don't even know how to say this. FI. Oh, holy crap.
Oh, I don't know, Matt. I'm puzzled. I don't actually, that one's not coming to mind.
Oh, you guys are killing me. FIAMMA.
FIAMMA.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even heard of this.
Fiona?
This may be,
Fiona awnings, yep.
Huh.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, me either.
So as a 2-pole, right? Like, I don't know. They make them in. Oh, that's an expanded drawing of it. They make some different. They make some motorized ones, some crank up ones. They make some roll out ones, but they have bars that kind of fold out to the side. Anyway, for sort of the 2-pole that just goes straight out, not 270. I think that's a pretty decent piece.
Yeah.
In that it, I think the cases, would take a little bit of a beating, probably not much.
Right.
It's a little tougher built than some of the other ones, and I think weight wise, it doesn't weigh much. Going back to your point,
because some of the 270s are hefty.
Yeah.
Like and you need like special brackets almost to.
Yeah, and this isn't like that, and it wouldn't be bad. Like, so if I wasn't using it a ton, right? Which I don't necessarily deploy an awning all that often.
Mhm.
That would be a handy piece.
Yeah.
Like, and it would be really good. Like they make some short ones that would go off the tailgate of the truck.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You know, they'd go off backwards off the truck cap. I think that'd be slick. I've made a couple, um, poles and tie outs, but using tent poles
Mm-hmm.
and tarp so that they kind of, but that would be back of the truck where they'd V out.
Yeah.
They, would tie onto, or I had them where they clip onto the tailgate or lift gate on, the split on an 80 series or whatever.
Yeah.
And
then make a overhead cover. Yeah.
yeah. And then it would just extend out. So you kind of had a,
Yeah.
kind of wide
Joe
out.
Flowers has actually got one for Big Agnes that's that design, but it can be pitched just like an A-frame. So like you can have one pole in the center, or it's shaped because it's kind of a weird like suit almost. It's a trapezoid, but like it's almost like a really weird skewed triangle. Or you can put two poles kind of with a thirds.
Yeah.
So then you've got like a straight runway into the back of the truck and then two sides. And I've seen him off his old Jeep. He's got his new Gladiator with a camper now. But like sleep underneath that thing, like on a cot.
So I used to take the one that I made. I used to take it to the beach and all over the place because I would just sand anchor it at the bottom.
Yeah.
At the back, I had two tie outs at the back, so I would just sand anchor it at the back,
Mhm.
and then I'd two tent poles with a little bit of bow to them,
Yeah.
and then two stakes.
Done.
And as long as you had a little bit of bow to it, they'll stand. I mean, I've had it in like stupid wind, and it just it works. I'm sure there are a lot of companies that make that. At the time, I hadn't seen one, and I was like, I need something that
Have the technology.
comes out right. It comes off the back of the truck, and something that works on the sand. And
Yeah.
and again, we have the tools, and
We have a bunch of sewing machines.
yeah, and I just any random thing that comes to my mind, I basically make or make a really bad version of, if nothing else.
So
you definitely make whenever you have an idea, you just make it.
Yeah.
What else you got, CT?
It's true.
Oh, I was gonna mention there's just on like interesting awnings. I think it's Bundu Tech has the 360 awning that wraps around the front and the back of your vehicle.
Don't they have a powered awning, or they just have?
They have the
Bundu
powered
Tech?
tents.
The
I don't know if they have
powered tents,
powered awnings.
Yeah.
Bonfire actually makes a pretty neat awning. I did see one of those go bad once, but
same. I've only seen one.
But did
go
they
down.
like have it out in high winds when they shouldn't have or something?
Yeah. No, I don't think it was the awning. I mean, I don't blame the awning on any of their failures. It's
Okay.
just, it's how much do I want to deal with what their failure is going to be. And the Bundetech one, I don't think is not a high failure piece, right? Like it's not one that you see fold back on itself on a regular basis. So it's like, yes, I can actually deploy it by myself in the wind and stake it down reasonably well. Most of the 270s that aren't, like the Alu cab ones, Shadow ones, you can open those in high winds by yourself and you never even think about it. The Bundetech one, same thing. I feel like I could open it in wind, get it staked out, and operate it one person safely, or without breaking it. Where most of the other ones, by the time you get them out and you scramble to get a pole down,
any of those lightweight ones,
stake, and it's over the top of the truck, and you're like, what the hell?
And if you've never seen one like just totally give up, it is violent and spectacular. Like I've seen them like
so many of them
over the truck.
Oh yeah, like I can't even count the number of ones I've watched fold back over the truck.
Yeah, because it's not
and the
like,
same thing. Just it's a one person show trying to set it up in the wind.
Yeah, and if
maybe not done it a ton.
Yeah,
maybe done it a ton. I don't even know, but like. Just they'll get them out and they'll go to get it tied off and they'll get that half a mile an hour a 3 o'clock wind, and the next thing you know she folds right over and you're like, what? If it's perfectly calm out,
but you touched on one for me.
awning.
I want it to be quick and I want it to be a one person job, like because
right.
if not like I'll use it for big trips or an event, but like
or if you're staying there for a long time,
right? But if I'm gonna just like pull up,
I will not deploy it at lunch,
right? Unless it's just really, really either A, necessary like pouring the rain, or B, really easy.
I won't even deploy it at lunch if it's pouring in rain. If it's a pain.
Yeah.
That's where like the Shadow-Ons and the Bundetechs are handy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it can be pouring rain at lunch and I won't eat in the truck. I'll whip that thing out.
Yeah.
Spin it around. Okay, great. Wrap it up and roll on. Especially if I'm gonna eat outside for an hour or something. You know what I mean? And it's crappy and I don't feel like sitting in the truck and eating.
I'm excited to get my Shadow on when mounted up when we get a different tent situation going on. So.
Different tents.
Speaking of tents,
yeah,
going next thing on my list is choosing a tent. What do you look for in a tent?
Oh, What do I look for?
Sure. I mean, we've been starting with you, but we
Yeah.
can start with him.
Go ahead, Rick. You
Go
start.
ahead.
Oh, so for me, mine is like I need a tent that's tough for we're here in the east, like go down some tight trails. There's going to be some limbs, stuff like that, but also
Sorry.
Holy crap!
A bug just landed on my neck.
followed by a small spasm.
Yeah.
Right.
And I leave stuff on the truck. So like I had a CVT first rooftop tent I ever owned. Like
That you won
I won that
at the
like
Expo
second
East.
second Expo East.
Wow.
at the plantation or whatever,
Yeah.
wherever that was at.
Yeah.
not
The
plantation.
Mudfest? Oh,
No,
no,
it
the
was
plantation.
before that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This was at Reed Ranch, not Reed Ranch.
no Taylor's Ranch.
Taylor Ranch.
Yeah.
Taylor Ranch.
Oh.
Yeah, I won
Second
it.
one. Yeah.
And it was on the truck for like more or less 3 years straight. And then
Because I remember you were like looking at them, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden he like wins the drawing. I was like,
yeah,
what?
I bought like
This works.
$20 in like raffle tickets. It was
Yeah.
like the last ticket of my section won it. Yeah. And man, ran that thing on the truck for 3 years straight, like never came off the truck. Basic, polytarp cover. Yeah, had some fading and stuff, but no problems.
So it does.
And you sold it, and they're still using it, right?
Yeah. They don't run it full time, but they still put it on for trips.
Yeah.
So does a polytarp good enough for that kind of use case, or do you like a hardcover one?
I will say now that there's some really good like aluminum covers out there. I prefer that because now I did have some cuts in this one, from tree strikes and stuff like that, and branches.
Okay.
But you can fix those. I mean, the nice thing about that tarp is it's repairable.
Yeah, and replaceable. Like that one.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I guess you could find some kind of patch kit.
Yeah, you can patch it.
Honestly, I bet.
I mean, honestly, like
some
Gorilla Tape will.
or some of the good like no-so patches.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can find like almost like a glue on,
And then
because it's PVC.
Any like soft cover tent worth its weight, I would assume too. Because that one just went on like a tube and a track.
Yep.
You just replace it.
We'll replace it. Yep.
But yeah, there's some aluminum ones now. What I will say is, same as an awning, I want it to be quick and easy to set up. Like, I like an easy in, easy out tent, easy up, easy down. And while I know that there's varying opinions on these, and it's obviously easy to remedy, but well, not easy, but there is a solution. I like one with a good mattress. Yeah.
I just say mattress is a wash. It's gonna suck. So I have to plan to supplement
CT
it with an
has
air
got like
pad
a
or something.
cooling pad, sleep number. The butler comes in and fluffs the pillow mattress, at home. So like his bars here. There we go. I needed to actually get that out of frame.
I just put an exped in it.
Yeah.
I've got a big Agnes air pad that I use.
And I've actually just put like 2 ridge rest Thermarest ridge rest underneath tent mattresses before.
Okay.
To give
And
them
that works. Yeah, I usually throw an
Yeah.
exped on top of them.
Yeah.
And that usually works for me.
Yeah.
Or I ditch them and just use the exped. Either way,
Right.
the exped is the way to go.
Oh.
So yeah, for me, some of that depends on how many people I'm taking. So like back when I had, when I was traveling 5 a lot.
Because was it a CVT?
Yeah,
I've
been
the
through-
biggest rooftop tent I've ever seen was mounted on the 100 series. Was it on the 100?
I've had so many CVT tents or so many soft shell tents over the years. And
Guys, like it was dual ladder.
Yeah, dual
Yeah,
ladder.
yeah.
That thing
It
is
took
a
up
monstrosity.
It took up front to back.
Yeah.
Land cruiser roof. Like
right, but that's because we were sleeping 5 in it.
yeah.
So from that perspective, like if you're sleeping a number of people, I think the soft shell tents are fine. And
you
they set up
need
really
it for the
quick.
floor space in there.
yeah, and well, again, we put a lot of nights in them. When the kids
And-
were young, we put a crap load of nights in them, and
And I've had some gnarly weather. Like I remember a
Yeah.
storm
Well,
on the
we were
Kentucky
at the-
Adventure Trail.
when that hurricane came up through
Oh, yeah.
Taylor Ranch that year,
And
and my 2 kids
slept through it. And,
like
And-
no big deal.
And then speaking of hurricanes, I was actually on the coast on a fishing trip one time in that tent, and it wasn't actually like precipitation, but the winds kicked up. It was nuts.
Yep.
Like that night we cooked like grilled shrimp 6 inches from the front bumper of the truck because that was the only place out of the wind,
Yeah,
and still was eating sand.
yeah.
And I thought like, oh man, this is gonna be awful. And that night, like,
Yeah.
no sand got in the tent hardly. The wind wasn't too bad. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've had good luck. I mean, I've had good luck with this. I mean, right now I run a hard shell. When I run a tent,
Yeah.
I run now UCAB.
I've got a roof nest, the Condor, kind of like the hybrid opening.
Yeah.
Doesn't take up a lot of room on the top, but plenty of floor space. But
Yeah. So I mean, I think decision wise, that how much am I going to use it? How many people am I sleeping in it?
Yeah.
How bad am I going
Well-
to abuse it? And
Now-
how long am I going to keep it?
Let me-
I changed
One of the
CVT
things I
tents like I
really-
changed socks.
One thing I like about the CVT tents and the higher and the nicer like soft cover tents is that they have those window dormer things, and it takes extra poles, and that's annoying
to
to
cover
like
the
stake
zipper,
those.
yeah.
But then you can actually like have your windows open when it was pouring down rain, and you're not like, and
Or
then
at
it's
least a
not
little
just
rain,
like
yeah.
sultry in there.
I will say this: a feature that's kind of become popular, and at first it's like, oh, that's cool, and then I remembered that I'm a person that like needs to see the sun to wake up. It's the blackout liners.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
maybe not a feature that I should have moving forward. Like I'm really good at convincing myself, like, oh, it's still sleepy time.
5 more minutes.
Yeah, when it's like 10 a.m. You know?
Yeah, my bladder does not have that
Yeah,
that same
so-
thing going on.
Blackout liners, cool in theory, terrible in practice.
So one of the other things that's kind of come out more recently, and I think like iCamper maybe pioneered this, and some other like one or two other brands, is the one that's like it's a hard it's a hard
Oh, yeah,
cover,
that's like
but then it has a partial flip out, so it's
Yeah, my
partial-
roof nest is the
it's
same.
like a hybrid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
partially,
essentially
yeah.
soft
the
shell.
shell opens up in almost vertical. Like the
Yeah.
top when it's closed is essentially a wall, and then you flip out the floor. So yeah, you got a much smaller footprint, but this like double the floor space versus like a wedge style that takes up the full roof or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean I like I like my IU cab.
Yeah.
For sleeping two people it works out great.
Yeah.
It doesn't work near as
And-
well for more than that. And when I had it on the van that worked out really well because I could sleep.
And I'll say in
three
my
people could
experience,
sleep downstairs and two people could sleep in the
That's it. I guess a
in the
Gen 3.
penthouse.
I've spent a couple nights in a Gen 3 IU cab. Great mattress. Like I would
Well,
not.
I have a Gen 1, so
I would
I-
not need to supplement that mattress. So
mine is the next bed.
yeah,
Mm.
but people, I will say sometimes like obviously you don't need a rooftop tent to Overland. Like we own a Gazelle.
Right.
You've got a Gazelle.
Gazelles are awesome.
Yeah, plenty of living room.
I
Plenty.
don't even know that I've slept in. Have I slept in my
Yeah, you did
Gazelle?
a rooftop tent rally last year.
I did. I don't remember where the kids slept, but
Oh yeah.
but I did sleep in the Gazelle last year.
But you don't need one. But I will say like it's convenient. Like
Yeah, no. As long as if it's raining hard, then
Mhm.
I for sure think a Gazelle is handy as all get out.
Yeah,
Or if
yeah.
it's raining much.
and for living
Gazelles.
space, because let's just be honest, there's no rooftop tent that I want to spend. Like I think back to a
You
fishing
can stand up.
like a trout fishing trip with my buddy Dave in Georgia where it rained like, and I don't mean a little, like it rained for like 16 hours.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a Gazelle. I don't think Gazelle existed back then, but we had a similar tent, like
Yeah.
big. And so, yeah, we sat on the cot and we had a cooler between the cots and we played cards and we talked and we both read and we napped. And
I
it,
thought
like,
this was like, and we just pounded all of our alcohol for 16
yeah,
hours.
well,
That's
no,
what I thought we were
we'd have
leading
died,
up to.
Because, like, I mean, but, versus being a rooftop tent this close together,
Right.
that would, the suck factor would have greatly increased. Instead, we just hung out in the tent,
Yeah, when it was bad. Yeah, no, unless it's really ugly. I a lot of times I'll just sleep on the ground on my.
Yeah.
Again, I'll throw down my X bed, and I do own 3 or 4 of them now. Because my X bed fetish has grown for
You need
sure.
to just become a dealer for them, and then or a vendor for them, and then you can get them a discount. And
So I've bought all of mine used. I bought the first one. I bought them all at the flea market.
that's actually high praise for the brand if they're still whole air used.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I bought all mine used. All of them from the flea market.
Yeah.
All of them from our flea market.
So-
and
What do you look for in a sleeping pad? Sorry to.
it has to say X bed on it.
Yeah,
and
if
then
it
I'm
says
done.
X bed on.
I just buy it.
I
If
let,
it's a size I don't have, and it says X bed, I buy it.
Yeah.
And it's used.
yeah, for me, X-Ped or Big Agnes, I like the ones that I don't like the ones that like have foam inside to like self-inflate. They're never thick enough.
Right,
and
that's
all
kinda-
kind of
Isn't that what the X beds are?
Well, a little bit,
They're
but I think
foam
he
over
means
air.
like the self-inflating thermarest from back in the.
Oh.
That's kind of
yeah.
old technology at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Now, I will say
But
this.
so okay.
We've got climate pads. We've got a couple of climate pads, and I really like the insulated inflatables because it's got fibers that like
Oh.
Yeah. Ground
the-
insulation is
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Because otherwise, you can have a 4-inch thick inflatable pad that is essentially like sleeping on an ice block.
So I have an X bed, the Arctic version or the cold version,
Yeah.
cold weather version.
Uh,
I got that this year. Thank you.
Nice.
Pretty excited about it.
Okay. Cool.
My dad's got a really nice big Agnes that we got him for Christmas a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
and I don't know what Exped uses, but it's like the pump is basically a bag that you get air into and then just fold it down and to push air in, and it's just and that packs down really small and easy. What do you
Air
use?
compressor?
No, I mean I don't use anything. I mean they kind of for the most part self-inflate.
Okay.
If I'm going in the truck and I'm by myself, I just strap it down the back of the truck inflated.
Yeah.
Pull it out, throw it on the ground, and go to bed.
Oh, okay.
I'm lazy. I'm lazy like that. They do have a cute little pumpy thing that you can use your foot, or I don't know.
So
something. Okay.
Let me tell you,
But
we haven't used it yet, but I had a realization. So we both,
and then I have a compressor. So
yeah. So we've got obviously I've got my compressor, but Brady has a Cocapelli stand-up paddleboard inflatable. I have one of their pack rafts, and they sell this little pump that's like about the size of this cup, like squared off.
Is it like battery powered?
Rechargeable, and that thing will blow up that 25 psi like big inflatable paddleboard
In no time flat.
in like sub-minute it gets it most of the way, and obviously the last little bit. And it hit me, it's got all these different like ends. I was like, oh my gosh, you could like rip a inflatable bag out of the compression sack and like hit it with this and be like done in seconds.
Instantly going to bed. Nice.
Yeah, because obviously like you don't want like 25 psi on your sleeping pad.
right,
yeah. So insulation's big for me, even when it's not like cold weather, because if you're on the ground, it'll suck the
suck the heat right out of you. You'll die. But we've talked about that some. But I think the biggest thing on gear selection stuff is figure out what questions you need to answer, right? Like how many people am I sleeping? How often am I going to use it? Okay, now what's my budget? Now what's in my budget that makes sense in those, And I think that's like I said, I'll go heavy on sleeping pads apparently too, but I awning or drawers I go pretty hard on.
Lots of use.
Awnings I could go either way.
I think about like our friends like Josh Carter that goes down to the beach all the time. Obviously an awning there is needs to be real stout. I know he's got an AuCap. Needs to be real stout for the winds, and B, like it needs to be pretty big because like there's no other shade.
Right.
Like, so your options are...
and that's like I said, that's the kind of thing you need to kind of ask those questions
first.
Yeah, figure out what you're doing most of the time. What's the realistic use of it?
Yeah.
What's the and I know you don't always know that in the beginning, but like I said, for me it's like I know I'm going to use a door all the time.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to use a fridge regularly. I know I'm going to go down through those things. I know I'm going to use an air compressor a fair bit. And kind of go from there. But how much am I going to use it? How many people do I need it for? What scenarios do I need it in? That sort of thing. Ask those questions, and then buy the nicest one that you can afford.
Yeah. Buy once, cry once.
We do appreciate that you've made it this far because most people have not. And if you're listening to this now, you should really go back and listen to the one about ham.
Radios?
Yeah, radios. Yeah. There's very little radio talk in that
one.
I'm sorry, guys.
Radios.
It was a lot of ham talk and very little radio talk because we're not really that smart.
On
about
our
radios.
next episode, Canadian bacon is just lying because it's really ham.
Yeah, right. It's just small little pieces of ham.
Yeah.
Bye.
You've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to the Blue Ridge Bonfire. Shop our gear at BlueRidgeOverlandGear.com. Our sissies are as welcome as a nail in the tire. Get equipped, get organized. I'll see you there.